In this episode of Beyond the Closing, we talk with Lisa Bolash and Sam Del Rosario from Keller Williams. They're actually both going to be sharing with you a little bit about team building.
This episode of the podcast is brought to you by First United Land Transfer. Enjoy the conversation.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, hello. This is Sam Del Rosario with Keller Williams Real Estate, and I am with Lisa Bolash.
Lisa Bolash.
The beautiful
also
Lisa
with
Bolash.
Keller Williams Real Estate.
Are you?
Yeah.
Yes, you are also with Keller Williams. I probably should let you speak. So, Lisa, we were invited here today to talk about probably one of our specialties as
Team building.
Team building.
Yes.
As an organization, I think we have probably the most teams of any other real estate company out there,
Certainly
right?
here in the Lehigh Valley we do.
Absolutely.
And the most productive teams as well.
Well,
so how do you get to that?
How do you get to that?
Yeah.
Yep. So let's go that. So, a lot of people ask, when is the right time to hire a team? What exactly are the requirements for hiring a team? And, what do you do? Like, how do you begin the process of leverage, right?
And why would you? Why would you hire a team versus maintaining just an independent status as an individual?
Absolutely.
Real estate agent.
Yeah, I mean, is teams for everybody, Lisa? Do we propose?
No,
propose
teams
that?
are not for everybody.
Sure. I mean, some
No.
people are happy, right? And so first thing we think with team building is going to be, what are your financial goals?
Exactly.
And, what do you envision you doing in 5 years?
Right.
Right?
Yep.
And not everybody's going to want to do a big team, big business. And a lot of people equate leverage with teams, right?
Well, yes. I mean, that's one of the building blocks. That's the foundation of building a team is leveraging out the things that are not your money-producing activities, really, for you as the team leader,
Let's
right?
go deeper.
Okay.
Let's go deeper on that. So let's talk about what leverage is.
Mm-hmm.
Lisa, you're a productive agent. If I were to ask you in a typical day, Monday through Friday, from 8 a.m. to 6 p.m., are there any activities that you wish you didn't have to do?
Well, sure. There's lots of them. But there's also activities that I rely on other people to do for me.
Absolutely.
And that's the leverage part. That's using, other people that have the skills and the talent to do things that they enjoy doing and that they're good at so that I can do the other things that I'm good at doing and that I enjoy.
Yeah, the dollar productive activities. And certainly, we equate it with, if you can get an extra piece of business in because you leveraged out a $10 an hour activity,
Right.
like entering stuff into the MLS or pushing papers or coordinating emails, is that something that you get the most reward or return on your investment of time?
Leveraging it out, I do.
Yeah. If that wasn't leveraged out,
Yeah.
I think the saying of, if you don't have an admin, you are the admin.
That's right. And what happens, you can find yourself getting bogged down with doing those $10 or $15 an hour activities, and then your production can suffer as a result. So
Yeah, absolutely.
you get stuck. You kind of get stuck and limit yourself to the same level of production if you don't look at building a team and leveraging out those other things.
Well, you plateau. Your business will plateau. Yep. So ultimately, the next phase or next evolution of team building would be like, when do you hire your first buyer's agent? Right? A lot of people think that it's simply just adding people to your team willy-nilly. A lot of people are doers. Not a lot of people are leaders. Right? And I think that's super important. I think when we look at taking over and having mouths to feed is what I equated to. When you start actually
when you have an
people,
employee in your
Yeah, I mean,
Right.
you now have a mouth to feed. You have responsibility beyond yourself. There's a responsibility that comes with that,
there is.
right? There's a managerial responsibility of making sure that you're profitable so you're able to make payroll, do the activities, and still keep the amount of profit that you have planned for yourself for your business. And so adding somebody to your team without planning that out certainly is a mistake. I think it's a fatal mistake we've seen over and over.
We see it all the time.
Yeah, I mean, how many times have we experienced an agent just hire somebody, not vet them, not properly ensure that they were the right fit, both from a group dynamics perspective, but even from a financial perspective, and it not work out?
Or they make the wrong first hire. They hire the wrong position first.
Yeah.
A lot of people think that, my first position that I'm going to hire is going to be a buyer's agent because I need somebody to take the buyers so that I can continue with the listings.
Yeah.
And that's the wrong move as well.
Well, yeah, because your balanced business should be based half on buyers, half on listings. Certainly when you get to the level where you can balance it more listings than buyers, you're still losing that income. Right. So every buyer you leverage out prematurely is 50% income potential that you're not going to get.
Right. And what kind of support is your buyer's agent going to have if you haven't done the right hire beforehand and have an admin in there or a director your business in there. Your CEO, well, not your CEO, but what do we call it?
Operations manager.
Operations manager. Thank you. That word was escaping me
Well,
for some reason.
well, and there's different roles. I mean,
Yeah.
if you think about it, when you hire your first admin, they ultimately become, at least in our system and model, your operations manager.
They do.
become the person who manages your team.
Correct.
As you get progressively higher in the levels of business that you should be doing. Initially, they start out as your admin. They could be your executive administrator. They could become a marketing person. Depending on the models that you're looking for, there's different models out there. I know the Keller Williams model, which is based on the 7 levels of production. You start out with an admin, and then you have a marketing coordinator, and eventually you branch out to that at the 3rd level. But nowhere in our model do you hire a buyer's agent first.
Correct. It's not in our model,
Right.
but it's in some people's activities.
Yeah. So the question is, why would somebody stay with you
When they don't have the support.
when they don't
On the
have the
back end.
support on
Right.
the back end for
Right.
the system?
Because you're still busy as the team leader. You're busy, right? You're busy doing your
Supposed to.
money-making activities.
You're
right?
supposed to be.
Right. So who's supporting you and your buyer's agent then?
So that's a great point, because I think what we find out, and I can tell you from personal experience, what happens is you spend a lot of time coaching and mentoring, which does detract from your business.
It does.
And
And then
if-
that detracts from the money that you're making, and that impacts negatively the buyer's agent that you just hired.
Absolutely.
And then what is your buyer's agent going to do? Are they going to stay, or are they going to look for something better?
Yeah, and the value is really what keeps people, right? And I think that's something that if your team, what's the difference between one team and another? And I think that's no different than the question of what brokerage is better than the other. I think it comes down to the value that each brokerage provides, or
Right.
each team provides.
That each team provides.
If you're running a team in any real estate industry, if you're running a team, you're running a mini brokerage.
Correct.
If you think about it, what you should be doing is treating your team as a business. And as a business, you're going to provide support in the infrastructure to allow your employees, your team, to progress and grow in their positions. And then you have to mentor, you have to lead, as well as do. You could be a rainmaker and obviously provide leads to your team, but you also need to close deals too, right? And so it's not just rainmaking, it's also leading, mentoring, coaching, and providing value to the team in order for them to remain loyal to you, and then the business grows in itself.
That's right.
So, what are some other issues that we encounter in the hiring process or the team process, Lisa?
Well, some of the things. Well, first of all, it's getting to the point of when and how. And how do you know that it's really time to hire? Because you can be an individual agent and you can still leverage out some of those businesses to people that are not necessarily direct hires working for you. For example, you could bring in a transaction coordinator that you're paying on a per transaction basis. And that takes a lot of weight off of one's shoulders. But when you get to the point of actually needing to hire your first administrative assistant, making sure that they have plenty of experience. Real estate experience, I think, is a really big key, that you are doing the personality assessments, asking a lot of questions in your interview process, and really finding out what it is that they enjoy doing and if it's really a fit for what it is that you need to carry your team.
So you're actually saying that we should actually interview them like we're interviewing a job applicant?
You should interview them multiple times,
So
absolutely.
you mean I shouldn't just take somebody who's my friend and say, hey, do you want to sell real estate and join my team?
Yeah, I would highly advise against that.
Well, yeah, usually. and so we see that very often when we have people who bring their friends, family, or even just somebody who they have some kind of rapport with and say, why don't you just join my team because it's that easy?
Right.
Right. And I think we both understand, or at least we learn from experience, that hiring is the most difficult thing you can do, right? And if there's anything you're going to find out about yourself and that other person is really who you really are. Because when it comes down to money and value and all that really exposes a lot of people.
It does, and it can damage friendships and relationships.
Yeah, so we
Right,
shouldn't
it's not a right
necessarily
fit.
be hiring people based on their likability score.
Right, because you think, I'm going to get along. I get along great with this person, so it would be fun to work with this person every day. But
Yeah.
really, what is their strength and what is the agreement? Having the agreement, right? The
contract.
The contract
Yeah.
is super important. Don't be informal about it.
Yeah, I think that's a huge part of being the difference between a business owner and somebody who's just dabbling in business, right? I
Correct.
think a business owner understands that the bottom line matters, the profit matters. Having contractual relationships and building a support system, I think it's super important. And I think at the end of the day, a lot of agents make the mistake of believing that simply partnering up with somebody is going to be okay.
Right. And partnering with somebody isn't building a team either.
No.
You know.
And building, what do you think? I think the conversation revolves. I don't think a lot of people understand, why do we build teams in the first place? Because some people, I think, are confused, especially in our model. A lot of people think that's all we're about is teams.
Oh, well, the reason that we build teams in our brokerage is to help take your business to the next level, because there's only so much that an individual agent can do in a 24-hour time span, right?
Yeah.
So you need to be able to count on other people, leverage things out to other people. We use that word leverage a lot in our brokerage. And so you hit a wall in production because you just physically cannot do anymore without bringing somebody else in. So building the team, taking the production to the next level, and being able to build a business that is going to be lucrative, and it's actually a business. It's not just you selling homes. It's going to give you something in return in your future, so that you could step away and your business is still running and still providing you with income.
That's super important. I'm glad you hit that, because I think that's huge. If you think of Robert Kiyosaki, Rich Dad, Poor Dad, he talks about in the cash flow quadrant, the ESBI, right? Employee, self-employed, business, and investor, right? If you're an employee, you have a job, right? If you're self-employed, although you don't work for somebody, you own the job, because if you stop working, you don't make income. The business is over. The business is over.
That's it.
So a lot of people don't understand that piece. That's a huge part. And then the B is business. When you're a business owner, it means that you have systems and models, and you're leveraging others to do the work. And then when you have I, which is investments, that's when money does the work for you.
Correct.
And I think people confuse S's and B's together. I hear a lot of real estate agents who say, I have a business, but they're solopreneurs. They're by themselves.
Yep.
So the question is, after you sell the last house, what other income are you going to be making?
Yeah. Where's your next check coming from?
It's not.
Right. Exactly.
Right?
Exactly.
Right? And so then you have people that join teams, which are a bunch of solopreneurs joined together.
Correct.
But where's the passive income potential by just partnering
for those
together?
people, right?
For those people.
Right.
Yeah, the team leader certainly will benefit off of that relationship.
Absolutely.
But as soon as they sell their last house,
correct.
Where's the income coming?
Where does it go? Where they go from there?
So we talk about teams from a business perspective, because we believe business ownership is when you have a system support, like you say, a good admin, a good marketing coordinator, the value piece of that team, and that support system and models now creates leverage for the team leader, and those other agents plug into those systems and models, and not only benefit from the relationship, but also from the support systems that are put in place for them.
Absolutely.
And now you have a business.
Right, and keeping those agents on your team is easier, because let's face it, people look at, do I want to join a team? Do I want to be independent? And they think, well, I could be independent and I'll keep all my commission, right?
Yeah.
But is it worth the time and the investment that you have to put in to hit that plateau and never be able to go any further? Where if you're on a team that has that great foundation, that has the support from the administrative and the marketing perspective, that you don't have to think about. You go out and you do the business. You go out and you find the listings. You go out and you find the buyers, and you drop a file on the desk for somebody else, and they take care of the rest of it for you. And you go back out and you find another buyer. And you go back out and you find another listing.
Yeah.
So the money's always coming.
The system takes care of the rest.
Exactly.
Right?
So what you lack, not what you lack, but what people have to look at is the volume that you can do as a team versus the volume that you can do as an individual. And again, where does it ends? When you stop as an individual, it ends.
Yeah, I mean, and you have probably the best advantage as a team leader of a productivity coaching program. You're basically the team leader, and you have agents that report to you ultimately and are learning the business from a high level. And how are you teaching those agents? Is it easy?
No, it's not, because at the productivity level, I'm working with primarily agents that have just gotten their license, so they're new to real estate, and they don't know what they don't know yet, and a lot of them, many of them, are still working full-time jobs and thinking they're going to transition into real estate. So I'm dealing with people that are on all different levels of being plugged into this. So it's finding what works for one person who's still working a full-time job versus the person who can be here every day and is really starting to adapt to the systems and models that we're teaching.
Yeah. And do you find, in your productivity coaching, because these are new licensees, right?
Yep.
So I'm an agent, experienced agent. I'm just going to bring on my cousin who just got his license. What support and value do I need to provide as a team leader to get that new licensee straight out the gate, brand new, to get them up and running where they're productive for me and my team?
Well, they really need to be in coaching. They really shouldn't be just joining a team as a new licensee, because unless you're not producing as the team leader, you're not producing anymore. Are you there doing the coaching and doing the development of your team talent?
That's hugely important. I'm
Hugely important.
glad you said that. So unless I'm willing to give up production
Correct.
and coach full time these new people, should I really be taking on people with no experience without the systems and structure in place?
Right. I highly recommend against that.
I see it a lot.
Yeah.
I see
Yep,
a lot
I
of
see it too.
folks. I see people adding people to their teams less than 2 years in a business, a year in a business. They themselves need coaching still, and they're not providing the value to their team members.
Right.
So our advice would be caution them and say,
Yeah.
you need systems and models,
Right.
and you need to structure before you bring that on.
Yep.
So I think that's huge. So
Absolutely.
is there anything else really to cover on the team aspect?
I don't know. I think you hit it all, Sam.
You hit it too, Lisa. All right. Well, thank you very much, and it was a good conversation about teams.
Thank you.
All right. Thanks, guys.
Bye.